They had all the reports, the footage, the data, and they even had the Real Madrid warning, but they all still found a reason to wait. That is why Ayyoub Bouaddi is dangerous. Not because he came from nowhere, he didn't. Arsenal knew, Manchester United knew, Liverpool knew, Chelsea knew, but everyone had the same excuse. He is only 18. Maybe we should wait one more season. Then the World Cup arrived, and now waiting looks expensive because Brazil was not the discovery. Brazil was the punishment. And just like that, Lille now have the leverage. And now everyone is about to pay for the proof they asked for. So stay with me, because this story has 7 problems the big clubs can no longer ignore. The Brazil explosion, the Real Madrid warning, the Lille contract trap, the Arsenal regret, the United hijack chance, the Carrick Fit, and the €80 million problem. Because the question is not whether Ayyoub Bouaddi is special, it is whether United waited until the worst possible moment to move. Before we go deeper, hit like and subscribe if you enjoy these United breakdowns. It really helps the channel. Part 1. The Brazil explosion. And this is where everything changed. Because Ayyoub Bouaddi did not just have a nice game against Brazil, he changed the market. There is a big difference. A lot of young players go to a World Cup and show flashes. A nice touch here, a brave pass there. A few moments people can clip for Twitter, but Ayyoub Bouaddi did something different. He controlled the game. Against Brazil, at 18 years old, that is the bit that makes no sense. He completed 60 of his 66 passes. He went 16 out of 16 in the final third. He had the most touches of any Morocco player on the pitch. He won duels. He recovered the ball. He kept showing for it under pressure. And he did all of that with Casemiro, Bruno Guimaraes, and Lucas Paquetá on the other side. That is not normal. That is not a kid surviving the occasion. That is a kid taking ownership of the occasion. And this is why the big clubs are now in trouble. Because before that game, they could still pretend they needed more proof. Too young, too expensive, too early. But after Brazil, that excuse disappeared. Everyone saw it. The scouts, the agents, the sporting directors, the selling club. Some players used the World Cup to introduce themselves. Ayyoub Bouaddi used it to raise his price. Part 2. The Real Madrid warning. This is the part people cannot ignore. Because Brazil was not the first warning. It was just the warning everyone finally watched. Before the World Cup hype, before the clips went everywhere, before every big club suddenly started panicking, Ayyoub Bouaddi had already shown this level. He had already done it in the Champions League, against Real Madrid, against Juventus, against Dortmund, against proper European pressure. That matters, because one good World Cup game can fool people. We have seen that before. A player has one massive tournament, the price explodes, and 6 months later, everyone is asking why clubs got carried away. But Ayyoub Bouaddi is different. The Brazil game did not come from nowhere. It fitted the pattern, the calm under pressure, the clean passing, the way he receives with players around him, the way he turns pressure into control, the way he plays like the occasion belongs to him. That was already there at Lille. The big clubs had the evidence. They had the Champions League footage. They had the data. They had the scouting reports, so they cannot pretend this was some random World Cup surprise. The truth is more uncomfortable than that. They saw enough to move, but they still waited. And that is why the Brazil game was so damaging. It did not create Ayyoub Bouaddi. It exposed the clubs that were too slow to believe what they were already seeing. Part 3. The Lille contract trap. While the big clubs were still analysing, still waiting, still asking whether Ayyoub Bouaddi was the real deal, Lille were not confused. They knew what they had, so they protected it. Contract until 2029. No easy release route. No cheap exit. No desperate selling position. That changes everything. Because once a club like Lille has the player tied down, the conversation is no longer, can we get him for a clever fee? The conversation becomes, how badly do you want him? And that is where the big clubs are now trapped. Before the World Cup, maybe they could still negotiate from a position of doubt. He is young. He is not fully proven. He needs another season. But now, that argument is gone. Ayyoub Bouaddi has shown the level, and Lille have the contract. That is a horrible combination for buying clubs, because Lille do not need to panic. They can wait. They can invite offers. They can let Arsenal, United, Liverpool, Chelsea, PSG, Bayern, whoever else, look at each other and raise the number. That is not luck. That is planning. Lille did not panic. Lille played chess. While Europe was asking if Ayyoub Bouaddi was ready, Lille were making sure nobody could buy him cheaply once he proved it. And now the clubs that waited are walking straight into the trap. Part 4, the Arsenal regret. And this is where Arsenal come into it. Because they might be the club that regrets this most. Not because they did not know about Ayyoub Bouaddi. They knew him all right. They clearly liked him. But the problem is, they did not finish the job before the World Cup changed everything. And that is the brutal part of recruitment at the top level. Sometimes you do not miss the player. You miss the price. Before Brazil, Ayyoub Bouaddi was already expensive, but he was still a controlled risk, a teenage midfielder with elite data, a huge ceiling, a player you had to be brave enough to back before everyone else agreed. Now, everyone agrees, and that is the nightmare. Because once United are watching, Liverpool are watching, Chelsea are watching, PSG are watching, Bayern are watching, and Real Madrid are watching, this is no longer a clever deal. It is a fight. That is what hesitation costs. Arsenal may have done the hard work. They may have watched him properly. They may have pushed early. But if they do not close the deal, none of that matters. Scouting does not win the race. Decisions do. And that is the lesson for United as well. Because if you identify a special player and still wait for perfect proof, do not be surprised when the proof becomes expensive. Arsenal may not have missed Ayyoub Bouaddi. They may have missed the price. Part 5, the United hijack chance. And this is where Manchester United come into it properly, because United are not just random spectators in this race. They know Lille. They have dealt with Lille before. Lenny Euro matters here. That deal gave United a relationship, a pathway, and proof that elite teenagers from Lille can be convinced by the Old Trafford project. So if United are serious about Ayyoub Bouaddi, they are not starting from zero. They know the club, and a deal can be done fast. And that matters. Because Ayyoub Bouaddi is exactly the kind of profile Ineos should be obsessed with. Young, elite ceiling, already tested in big games, comfortable under pressure, and potentially the long-term answer to United's number 6 problem. But here is the issue. Timing. United may have the Lille connection, but the World Cup may have stolen the discount. Before Brazil, maybe this was an expensive but smart play. Now it looks like a fight. Arsenal are there, Liverpool are there, Chelsea are there, PSG, Bayern, Real Madrid, all watching. And once that many clubs are circling, relationships only get you so far. At some point, the money has to make sense. That is the problem for United. They might love Ayyoub Bouaddi. Michael Carrick might see the fit. Christopher Vivell might have the data. United might understand the upside. But if the price moves towards 80 million euros, this becomes a completely different conversation. So the hijack chance is real, but the window is shrinking. And United have to decide whether Ayyoub Bouaddi is the statement signing or the one that got away. Part 6, the Michael Carrick fit. And this is why Ayyoub Bouaddi makes so much sense for Michael Carrick. Because he is not just a destroyer. He is not just a big tackle midfielder. He is not the old school number 6 who wins it, gives it 5 yards, and hides from the next pass. Ayyoub Bouaddi is a modern 6. That is the difference. He wants the ball. He shows for it. He receives with players around him. He can take pressure, turn away from it, and keep the team moving. That is exactly what United have been missing. Too often, their midfield has looked rushed. One bad touch, one forced pass, one panic clearance, and suddenly the whole team is defending a transition. Carrick cannot build control like that. He needs a midfielder who can calm the game down without slowing the game down. That is Ayyoub Bouaddi. He can recycle, he can switch play, he can carry through the first line. He can win the ball back and then give the team a clean next action. And that is why the Casemiro comparison matters. United do not just need a Casemiro replacement in name, they need the modern version. Someone who can protect the defense, but also survive pressure when opponents press him. Michael Carrick does not need Bouaddi to score 10 goals. He needs him to make United stop panicking in midfield. Because when your 6 is calm, everyone around him starts looking better. That is the tactical fit. Not hype, just control. Part 7. The 80 million euro problem. So this is where the whole story lands. Ayyoub Bouaddi may already be too expensive. That is the problem. Because once you do what he did against Brazil, on that stage, at 18 years old, the deal changes. Lille have leverage, the player has global hype, the elite clubs are circling, and if Morocco go deep, the number could climb again. That is why this is no longer just a scouting story, it is a warning about timing. Because Ayyoub Bouaddi is not the scary Wonderkid because everyone wants him. He is scary because everyone might have waited until the worst possible moment to buy him. That is the regret. United may love the player, Michael Carrick may love the fit, but if the price has already jumped into 80 million euros territory, the question becomes brutal. Do United pay the World Cup tax? Or do they walk away and find the next Ayyoub Bouaddi before the price explodes?